In this session, we're going to go over options for weather data manipulation of the Tesla load forecasting software. There are 4 options: simple temperature scenarios affecting all weather stations, manipulation of daily high and low temperatures to affect the entire forecast, direct entry of data into the display to move the entire forecast, and direct data entry for individual periods without affecting the rest of the forecast. To begin, let's again go to the Start menu and select the TESLA2 menu entry. Notice that the system immediately begins to solve the model that we have earlier selected as the default model. Generally, people are concerned with day ahead when we are manipulating weather data, so let's select the next day, and let's begin with the simple temperature scenarios. Go to the Initialize menu, select Weather Scenarios. The system will immediately begin to solve for 3 degrees below and 3 degrees above the baseline applied to all weather stations. In the tabular display, you can see that here is the solution for 3 degrees below the baseline and 3 degrees above the baseline. The graphical display shows a spread of outcomes with 3 degrees differential. You can see that the green line in the baseline lies below the red line showing higher temperatures and above the blue line showing lower temperatures. This is because New York City is for the day of the forecast in the cooling regime. Going back to the tabular display, we can increase the temperature spread to say 5 degrees by clicking the spread button twice, and then when it is released without further input for about 2 seconds, the system will automatically solve for a 5-degree spread. That's now shown in the tabular display, and if we go to the graphics display, you can see that the interval between the lines is much greater. Let's go back to the tabular display. Let's drop the weather scenarios and resolve the model. Now, in this next demonstration, we're going to alter the daily high and low forecast values. To do that, select any weather data entry, right-click, and in the pop-up menu, select the Set High-Low Temperatures option. That brings up the Set High-Low Temperatures dialog box, and in that we see for each weather station the daily high and the daily low. Let's presume that on the ocean side that we believe that the temperatures for tomorrow are running on the high side, so let's change the 63 for LaGuardia to 60 degrees. Let's change the 74 for the daytime high to 70 degrees. And let's go over to JFK, change its overnight low to 59 degrees and its high temperature to 66 degrees. When we've finished with our entries, click on the OK button. The model now resolves with these changes made to LaGuardia and JFK, but not to the other weather stations. You can see that the entries that we have made are now the forecast. Notice also that the load solution is showing in purple. That's to indicate that we are no longer in exact correspondence with what the rest of the system is showing. If we believe that these forecasts are more accurate than what we have gotten from our weather forecast provider, we can make those the solutions that everyone sees by going to the File menu, go to Save Edits, Save Weather Edits. That will bring up the Edit Expiration dialog. In this, we should enter the time in which we want the forecast to expire. Let's enter 13:30 in the afternoon. Click on OK, and the system now records this back to the database, and this becomes the new forecast. Note, however, that the temperature entries for LaGuardia and JFK remain in green to indicate to all users that these are edited forecasts, not what you got from your forecast provider. If later you get an updated forecast from your provider, or you believe that you may have made your edits in error, we can drop them by simply going to the Drop Edits, Drop All Weather Forecast menu option. Click on that. You will be warned that you cannot recover those edits. Click on Yes to accept the drop. The model now resolves with the original data, and we are back where we began. Now let's expand in the view menu to see the full weather data, and let's take a look at how we can directly enter data into the tableau. Let's take a look at the afternoon high for LaGuardia, 74 degrees. Let's make that 70 degrees. Let's make the morning low 59 degrees. And let's make the relative humidity 80% at hour 16. After those entries are made, let's click on the Solve button, which is the fourth button from the left, to apply those edits to the weather forecast and get a new solution. Again, the edited numbers are shown in green. You will notice that both the temperature and the relative humidity for LaGuardia are changed and no other entries are affected. Again, the purple load forecast column indicates that you are seeing different results than other users of the system. To make this a scenario that you have run on your local computer but not propagate it through the system, simply after you are finished with it, click on the Solve button. This will automatically recover the original data and resolve the model, and you have now dropped that scenario. Finally, you may want to edit individual hours without affecting the others. This may be because there are errors in the data, or it may be because you are expecting a frontal passage, but you differ from your weather vendor in terms of when the time might be. Go to the weather data, clear the Blend Edits to Forecast menu option, and now let's go in and change the daytime high at hour 16 to 70 degrees, and let's change the relative humidity to 80% for those two entries only. Again, click on the Solve button, and the system will now apply those edits to those hours only. And again, because you are seeing different solutions from the rest of the system, the load forecast is shown in purple and the 2 hours that you edited are shown in green. That concludes the demonstration of the options that are available for weather edits in the Tesla system.